If yogi wants to dwell penetrating the state of calm, nibbana, the cessation of all suffering, yogi should be able, yogi should be upright, very upright, obedient, gentle, and not conceited. Yogi should be humble and obedient. Venerable Putila was very learned monk, but he requested his 7 years old Arahant to teach him instruction for meditation. And the young 7 years old Arahant asked him, if you would do whatever I told you to do, I will give you instruction. And Venerable Potila said yes, and he was obedient and he became humble. So 7 years old Arahant taught him how to practice meditation. One day, suppose there is a mount where an iguana or lizard lives. Suppose there are sinkholes in the mount. In order to catch the lizard, you have to close the 5 holes and you have to sit at the 6th hole to catch it when it comes out. That means you have to close the 5 senses and you have to act as the mind door, or you have to act with your mind. That means whatever some object is presented to these 5 senses, do not let there be the impulsion stage. Just stop at the decision stage or determining stage and then go over to the mind door and practice vipassana. Actually, he had to practice vipassana from the beginning. So whatever an object is presented to him, he must try to stop the process of thought at the moment of decision and not to let it go over to impulsion moments. So whenever Potila practice according to this teaching, he followed the instruction very closely and he became an Arahant. So it is possible to practice or to follow this instruction and to stop the flows of the moments of consciousness from reaching to the impulsion stage. It is very difficult. We need a lot of practice, patience, and perseverance to sharpen the kinds of mindfulness, strengthen, That is what the Buddha meant when he said, there will be only the seeing with regard to what is seeing, dete data matamboisati, sute sutta matamboisati, with regard to what is heard, there will be only the heart. So when you hear something, stop at just hearing, do not take it as permanent, do not take it as pleasing, do not take it as displeasing. That means you do not stay in your domain. You have to stop at hearing. Just stop with the hearing consciousness after the decision consciousness and let it go there. Here also, will it be possible to stop at hearing and not go over to the impulsion stage? Yes, it is possible. But it is very difficult because we are used to hearing sounds and making judgment on these sounds, so much so that it is almost impossible for us to stop at just hearing. So the instruction is the same as the instruction given to Maluja Buddha by the fully enlightened Buddha. Buddha said to Maluja Buddha, Itate Maluja Buddha, Data Sutta Mutta Vinyate Sutta Mesu, Dite Data Matamboesiti, Sute Sutta Matamboesiti, Mute Mutta Matamboesiti, Vinyate Vinyata Matamboesiti. It is very famous teaching. Buddha said, herein, of those things seen, heard, reached, and cognized, in what is seen, there will be only the seen. In what is heard, there will be only the heard. And in what is reached, there will be only the reached. In what is cognized, there will be only the cognized. This very short statement, but it is very important. It describes in essence the practice of vipassana. Here Buddha said, things seen, heard, reached, and cognized, data, sutta, mutta, vinyata. When he asks question, he asks about 6 kinds of objects, visible objects, audible objects, and so on. When describing the practice of vipassana, Buddha used only 4 words or 4 expressions. Data, seen, sutta, heard, mutta, reached, vinyata, cognized. Here the words mutta, reached, is the translation of the Pali words mutta. Some translate as imagine. It is incorrect. Here, things that are rich mean the smell, the taste, and the touch or tangible object. Of those things seen, heard, reached, and cognized, in what is seen, there will be only the seen. Let there be seen with regard to what is seeing. Dictate data matam. That means when you see something, you must stop just at what is seen. That means you must not put any value on it or any color to it or anything added to it. When you see the visible object, you do not take it to be beautiful, you do not take it to be ugly, you do not take it to be permanent, you do not take it to be satisfactory, you do not take it to be substantial. If you do not take the visible object as permanent or good or substantial, and you just stop at what is seen, then you are said to be observing that object correctly. Your observation is correct. Satipatthana Sutta Buddha mentioned Kaya Kaya Nupasi Viharati. What kinds of body? What kinds of Kaya? The body which is impermanent, suffering, non-self and ugly. Take it as impermanent. Take it as suffering. Take it as unsubstantial. And take it as ugly. Kaya Kaya Nupasi Viharati. To observe the Kaya correctly, Buddha clearly mentioned that take it as impermanent suffering and non-self. In what is seen, that means with regard to what is seen, there will be only the seen. The commentary explains this statement in three different ways. The first explanation is just as translated here, Dete Detamatam Voisati. In what is seen, there will be only the seen. Only the object which is seen, and no other coloring or whatever on that object. You are noting whatever you see. When you see, you have to know seeing, seeing. Your mindfulness getting strengthened, you capture only the visible object. It is, you are in the Satipatthana domain. You are in the Satipatthana territory. Another explanation is the seeing really means seeing consciousness. That means when you note seeing, seeing, you capture the visible object or you capture the seeing consciousness. As soon as you see, seeing consciousness arises, it's coming up very quickly and disappear at that place at that moment. When you see something, there is consciousness in your mind. With that mind, you are said to see. The seeing consciousness is here called the seeing data. What is meant here is with regard to what is seen, there must be only the seen. There will be the measure of seeing consciousness and nothing more, or there will be the impulsion stage, which has the same quality or the same nature as the seeing consciousness. Now, it is not easy to understand. We need a little knowledge of Abhidhamma or Buddhist psychology in order to understand that explanation. Let us see what seeing is or what seeing involves. Under normal circumstances, we see things, we always see things. We are so used to seeing things that we think that seeing is a very simple thing. Seeing is very easy. Seeing is a very simple process. We just see something and that is all that is to it. However, if we watch seeing closely, if you apply real keen mindfulness to the process of seeing, you will see that it is not as simple. Seeing is not the simple. Seeing is a complicated process. There are different moments in what we call seeing. According to Buddhist psychology, there is a kind of mental state or mental activities which is called bhavanga, life continuum. Let us call bhavanga as inactive consciousness. This inactive consciousness is like a flow of water. It goes on and on and on and on, all during our lives. Your karma is good, and then the bhavanga will be going long time. If your karma is not good, this bhavanga will stop for some period of time, and you will die. This inactive consciousness takes a certain kind of object. We call it an obscure object. It is an object that is taken by the thought moments immediately before the death moments in our previous life. Cheta, that moment. So this inactive consciousness taking the object, which is taken by the consciousness immediately preceding the death moments in the preceding life, goes on and on and on. They do not take any fresh object in this life, like visible objects, audible objects, and so on. When a visible object comes into the avenue of the eye sensitivity, retina, as you say, when a visible object strikes at the eye sensitivity, the flow of inactive consciousness is disturbed. Bhuvenga is disturbed. When Bhuvenga is disturbed, it vibrates or it is shaken. After 3 moments, Bhuvenga ceases. In its place, there arises another kind of consciousness, an active consciousness. At that moment, your mind turns towards the present object. The mind turns towards the active series of consciousness. That moment is just called turning moment or advati moment. In Pali, it is called avijjana, turning moments or advati moment. After the turning moment or advati moment, there comes seeing consciousness. After your mind has turned to the visible object, the mind see it. That is called seeing moment or seeing consciousness. Jaku Vijnana. That seeing consciousness is a very weak consciousness. It is very superficial seeing, just seeing the visible object and nothing more. After the seeing moment disappears, there is another moment, the receiving moment. In Pali, it is called Sampatichana Citta. That means your mind receives the object presented to it after it has been seen. After the receiving moments comes the moments of investigation. In this moment, the object is investigated as to whether it is a desirable object or an undesirable object, as to whether it is an agreeable object or disagreeable object, or a neutral object. After the investigation comes the determining object, determining moment, Otapana. At this moment, the object is determined as agreeable, disagreeable, or neutral. In Pali, it is called Votapana Citta. It is determining moment. So once the object is determined, there follow moments of the real experiencing of the object. It is impulsion stage, Javana. These moments are said to run for 7 times under normal condition. These moments are the most active. They are the productive moments. These moments can be accompanied by either attachment or lust or craving, or they can be accompanied by anger, hatred, aversion, and also delusion. For the Vipassana yogi, your mind inclines to the wholesome, to capture the reality, mostly Vipassana Kusala, Vipassana Javana, Vipassana impulsion. Some good people, they have a good environment, good genetic factor, stay in the suitable locality. Mostly these people mind inclined to wholesome, but mostly unwholesome. These Javana moments are very important. These follow the moments of decision. After these very active moments of thoughts, active moments of consciousness, there follow two moments. These two moments take the objects taken by the active moments preceding them. Then the inactive consciousness, bhavanga, arises again, or the process or the series of consciousness lapse into inactive consciousness again. So that is the thought process that arises when you see something. It is unbelievable that there should be so many moments in just an act of seeing. If you look at some other things like reading a word, let us say, I think we can understand that there is multiplicity of events taking place in a single act of seeing. In a single act of seeing, there are various kinds of moments, Puenga moments, vibrational stage, Advati moments, Avijana stage, seeing moments, seeing consciousness, Chaku Vijnana, receiving moments, Sampadejana Cheta, investigating moments, Santirana Cheta, decision moments or determining moments, Votapana Cheta, experiencing moment, that is impulsion Javana Cheta, and then registration moments. In a single act of seeing, there are particular moments and there are different function, different characteristics, different manifestation of that mental state of these moments. So various kinds of moments. Can you follow me? In a single act of seeing, in a single act of seeing, there are vibrational moments, advati moment, seeing moment, receiving moment, investigating moments, determining moments, impulsion moments, and registration moments. So in a single act of seeing, there is multiplicity of events, multiplicity of moments. When see something, your mind is greatly absorbed in the different moments. These moments cannot be seen by ordinary people because they are so small, so short, and so subtle. But the mind of the Buddha can see all these, can see all these moments. Buddha described these moments so that we understand that there are all these moments involved in just one single act of seeing. Now, what is meant by date data mata bodhisati? If what is seen, there will be only the seeing. After seeing, if you can stop at the decision moment or determining moment and not go over to the impulsions moments or the moments of really experiencing the object, that is the best, because you have been practicing for long, many hours, many days, many weeks, many months. When your mindfulness and concentration get strengthened, you can stop at the decision moment, utapana, or determining moment. So the best thing is to do. The best thing to do is stop at this decision moment, and there may be decision, two or three decision moment or determining moments, and not get into taking that object as permanent and so on. So it is possible to stop at such a very small short moment and not let it run until the end of the process. It is unbelievable, but it is possible only through your constant applications of mindfulness. When mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom mature, then you will be able to stop even at the moments of decision or determining moments and not go over to what is called the impulsion stage, jhana moment. Now let us take an analogy. Suppose a wheel is running or revolving 300 rounds a minute. Is it possible to stop the wheel at the 50th round or the 60th round or 100 rounds? It is possible, although it is very difficult. If we have the necessary device to make it stop at the 50th round, then it will stop at the 50th round. That is possible. Also, it is very difficult. In the same way, these thought moments run very fast, so fast that it is almost imperceptible. It is said that these thought moments run more than 1 billion times in a second. Now you are watching your mind, you know how the mind quickly runs. But with the instrument of your mindfulness, concentration and wisdom, you will be able to stop at the decision moment and not go over to the impulsion moment. So when the Buddha said, Tete Dita Matam Bodhisati, there will only be the seen with regard to what is seen. Buddha meant that we should stop at just that moment of decision, Votapana. What happened if we cannot stop there? If we cannot stop there, there will be the impulsion moment, jhana moments. There will be the most productive moments. There may be either wholesome or unwholesome mental state. These wholesome or unwholesome mental states are very weak, and so they cannot give many results. If we cannot stop there, then there will follow another mental process or another thought process. We always go back to what we have seen, like the cow chew the cud. We have we always go back to what we have experienced, like the cow chew the cud. The next moment or the next phase, let us call it the recollecting phase. During the recollecting phase, your mind takes the object which has just been seen, which has disappeared from the avenue of the eye sensitivity. So the next phase, the recollecting phase, takes the object which has just gone out of existence. If we cannot stop at the first thought process, we may be able to stop at the second thought process. And at the end of the second thought process, the second thought process does not arise through the five senses, but through the mind door. If you can stop at the second thought process, it is stay good, because that thought process takes the object which is a reality. It is not a concept yet. After taking that object and experiencing it, and if you can stop there and not go to the later phases, it is stay good. You will not have either attachment or anger or hatred with regard to the object which you have seen. If you cannot stop at the second phase, you will go over to the third phase. Now you are not in your domain, Satipatthana domain. You are going to the third phase. During the third phase, you begin to see not reality, you see the concept. You begin to see a things, you begin to see a being, you begin to see a man, or you begin to see a woman. During the first phase or during the second phase, what you see is just the visible object. You can capture the rupa or kaya because you are in the Satipatthana domain. So we cannot say that we see things or we see being or we see a man or woman. But during the third phase, we come to see the man, we come to see the woman, or we come to see the things. When we see the concept, we come to have liking or disliking about these things. And so we acquire the wholesome or unwholesome mental state at that moment. After coming to the third stage, we go over to the fourth stage. We think the names of those concepts. At the third phase, we just see the man, we just see the woman, but the words, the names, man or woman, we can say, I see a man, I see a woman, I see a things, and so on. So at least there are these four processes or phases of thoughts arising one after the other when we see something. We have been seeing things and we have been taking them at the conceptual stage for so long that it is almost impossible for us to stop at the end of the first process and at the end of the second process. We almost always run over into the third and the fourth phases. That is why we cannot see under normal circumstances when we are not meditating. We cannot see things as they really are. We always see conceptual things as they appear to us, but not as they really are. In order to see things as they really are, now you have to apply mindfulness, concentration, and understanding with diligence, with singleness of purpose. Your purpose is to see, to have the kinds of single-minded, to be aware of the present object. So according to the second explanation, there will be only the same means the impulsion moments will be as the same measure or the same nature as the seeing moments, seeing consciousness. In the first thought process, there is seeing consciousness. That seeing consciousness is just neutral. It is not accompanied by attachment or hatred or delusion. It is a product of some karma in the past. So it is not productive and it is neutral, neither wholesome nor unwholesome. The second explanation means that we will make the impulsion moments have the same nature as the seeing consciousness. That means we will make the impulsion moment accompanied by attachment or hatred. So when the Buddha said, Dete Deta Matam Bhavisati, there will only be the seen with regard to what is seen. That means we must stop at just what is seen and not go over to taking it as a being, as a man or as a woman. And also we are not to have attachment, we are not to have anger towards that visible object. In order to be able to do that, we have to be able to apply mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom with diligence. That is what you are doing in this 2 months intensive retreat. Whatever objects arises, you quickly note with diligence to capture the Namarupa mind and matter, their reality, and their true nature of impermanence, suffering, and non-self. When you reach the stage of vipassana knowledge, where you see the dissolution of phenomena, When you reach the stage of Binganyana, knowledge of dissolution, and also when you reach the higher stage of Vipassana knowledge, Sankaripikanyana, knowledge of equanimity, you will be able to stop at only what is seen and not let it go over. So Venerable Putila, very obedient to follow this instruction, and finally he became Arhat. Now yogis are practicing Vipassana meditation. Let there be seen, let there be seen with regard to what is seen, etc. So we have to stop our discourse for today. By practicing Vipassana meditation, by observing every phenomena occurring at the six senses diligently, may all meditators be liberated from all suffering. May all yogis realize the real peace in the very near future.